Metropolises under the present circumstances of population boom forms an important part of the study of urban geography of a country. It differs more from capital city and also from conurbation, but metropolis has qualities magnet like to become in the real sense of meaning metro, which literally means a very large place. Metropolis acts as a magnet and becomes dinosaur. The power of attraction in metropolis is very strong, even stronger than the capital city. The best example is Paris, its incomparable influence on the whole world. Let us come to know the concept of metropolitan area. For most of us, the word metropolis suggests only the larger cities, but we are in this way facing the same problem as with the definition of town also. Population alone cannot be a reliable and correct determinant of the status of metropolis. The criteria of function must be accompanied by one of size. Generally, the term metropolis more commonly is used to indicate a place of large enough size serving as a regional capital, but this is not true and there is by no means full record on its such meaning. In USA, where it is supposed to be used widely, metropolis is being defined in the Bureau of the Census publications. At first, the metropolitan district was used in 1910 in the census of population carrying a central city of 50,000 or more population and all adjacent minor civil divisions having population density of 150 or more persons per square kilometer. By 1940, the concept of the metropolitan district had lost favor because the possibilities of correlating local data with the district data were limited. Besides this, the metropolitan district did not truly represent social and economic integration with the central city. Therefore, a new areal unit, the standard metropolitan area, came into vague in 1949. It was succeeded by the standard metropolitan statistical area, which is called SMSA. It is defined below as it is existed in 1970. At least 75% of the resident labor force in the country is non-agricultural labor sector, and at least 30% of the employed workers living in the country work in the central country or country of the area. At least 25% of the population should be urban. The country had an increase of at least 15% net in total population during the period covered by the most recent two census. The country has a population density of at least 50 persons per square mile or a kilometer. It seems that metropolis is primarily a demographic concept, but this may be emphasized once again that metropolis is much more than an agglomeration. It possesses a distinct character and functions which are not likely to be found either in agglomeration or in conurbation. In metropolitan cities, each function has benefited from the conditions which brought about the other functions and has found reasons for developing there itself. There, the power of attraction make them bigger and bigger, and consequently enormity of their size increases their power of attraction. This is happening in Mumbai, which has grown tremendously during 1901 to 1991. It was grown by 1,000 times. In the real sense of the term, Mumbai population is being exploded and estimated in 2001 more than 14 million, and Delhi too had more than 10 million. Nonetheless, significant is the role of their multi furious function are the characteristics. Mumbai is simultaneously an international port, one of the biggest commercial marts, an important industrial node of the country, and a cosmopolitan center. Delhi owes its position primarily to its political role as a capital of the federated India, to commerce, industry, education, and place for tourists for all over the world. It may be observed that out of 300 cities with a population over 1 million in the world, more than 50% are seaports. In reality, ports possess immense potential to concentrate functions, because on one hand they are by definition commercial places, and on the other hand they attract manufacturing industries by the materials of all sorts which they receive from various parts of the country. The eastern and western sides of the Atlantic in Europe and America therefore have a great ports. Metropolitan cities acquire a sort of permanence and remain evergreen over time. Think of Athens and Rome, Paris and London, Tokyo and Shanghai, Delhi and Mumbai. They all possess such rich historic legacy in their ever flourishing lifespan. These gigantic towns have strange power also. Cartographic missing link in SMSA. The size of particular city depends on the way it is defined. In every country, legal city is incorporated and its population is given generally in the census for its legal area. The corporate city thus has a definite legal entity. It is rather enormous and non-geographic to include whole countries which have substantial sections with entirely agricultural and sparsely settled forest desert areas. In case of Ontario, for example, SMSA has devoured several small cities by its vast expanses of desert wasteland. Gradually, on the northeastern seaboard of USA, the super metropolitan character became reality of this vast area. This has been termed by Gottman by a special name of the Metropolis. It is actually the blend of metropolis and small town. Metropolitan sprawl in India has displayed its negative role as a visible in case of Delhi and Kanpur. Kolkata and Mumbai too are no exception. In these metropolitan areas, terrible sprawling with their inadequate transportation facility, polluted air and questionable water, ugly or monotonous suburban developments, numerous slums and blighted sector infested with poverty and crimes have made the living a hell in its real sense. The larger the city, the greater the number and diversity of opportunity. Nearly 100 families from the cities of Rajasthan were interrogated about their children's perspective for future job placements. As many as 75% replied and indicate that the choice for the Ahmedabad, Mumbai and Bangalore. Thus, cities everywhere will continue to grow and the urban sprawl will expand at an increasing rate and creating many problems also. In India, the time of independence, Delhi decadal growth was 50% and since 1951. The metropolitan Delhi has been increasingly by leaps and bounds. Delhi began to sprawl in all directions. Its metropolitan region is closely linked with the urban core of Ghaziabad in Uttar Pradesh, Faridabad and Gurgaon in Haryana, and Narela urban communities of Delhi. Kolkata is also expanded enormously, and in 1991 census, Greater Kolkata had a population of 10.9 million, which rose to 12.5 million in 2009. In 1991, the density of population rose to 59,000 persons per square kilometer from 1050 persons in 1941, 10,085. The rapid growth of Kolkata has been due to heavy influx of migrants, industrial labor and displaced persons from Bangladesh. In the first quarter of the 20th century, Kolkata, Mumbai and Chennai were the premier urban centers. Their commercial supremacy along with the railway transport had enough to support their status. These largest urban centers of the country had massive Roman style buildings used as administrative institutions reflecting aligned culture. But the indigenous residential areas were haphazardly crowded. It was during the post-independence period that million cities appeared. Since 1951, considerable urban growth has been witnessed around the million cities. Spatial patterns of metropolitan areas have considerable significance in their growth, and they deserve attention for urban geographers. The four principal metropolises account for the absence of million cities in number of states. Delhi has its shadow over Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh and Haryana. Similarly, Kolkata has influenced the states of Bihar and Orissa. Kerala comes under the shadow of Chennai. Some 8 metropolises are located on the bank of the rivers for the reasons of supply of water, for industrial establishments and also for providing water for irrigation to their surrounding areas. Kolkata, Kanpur and Varanasi, their trade relations with the countries of the Western Hemisphere and also with the China and Southeast Asian islands from very ancient times. Metropolises play their role in determining the urban system in India. The urban system primarily is rotated around 4 principal metro areas of Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata and Chennai. Some of the states' urban systems show single nucleus independence. Rajasthan, Haryana, West Bengal, Kerala had 1 metro city each as per 1991 census. The impact of metro culture is being felt in all the states of the country, administratively and economically around the nucleus, only while the areas which are further and even further from the metro city remain affected by much lesser degree. Nonetheless, the significance of metro city cannot be totally ruled out because in these states, metro cities are less like capitals and possess close political links. Within the principal metropolitan region, after tremendous economic growth and population increase during the last decades, sub-metropolitan areas have appeared recently. With the development of economy, there has been a tremendous increase in the population of major cities, and the number of metro cities rose from 12 in 1981 to 23 in 2001. The change in economy as well as in administration status because of the state reorganization and also with exodus of people from rural areas, there has been emergence of sub-metropolitan centers. Some 8 centers had their place even in 1981, but 11 new centers attained the status of sub-metro cities under the command of principal 4 metropolitan areas. The Delhi region has under its influence of the states like Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana and northern parts of the states of Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. The Mumbai region covers almost the entire western section lying between Rajasthan, Kerala besides these 2 states of Maharashtra and Gujarat. It also includes Goa and the Union Territory of Daman and Diu. The southwestern part of the Madhya Pradesh and Indore also look toward Mumbai or its quintile. The Chennai metro region has its command over the states of Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Kerala. The Kolkata region encompasses the northeastern states of Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, Tripura, Manipur and Mizoram. But recently the Kolkata metropolitan region has shown the decline in its economic prosperity. Mumbai possesses number of distinct cultural regions besides its own. Konkan, Gujarat, Pune and Nagpur are its sub-regions and they represent the distinctive culture of Saurashtra. Maharashtra and Vidarbha respectively. Delhi has its sway over far and wide areas like Kanpur and Lucknow in Uttar Pradesh, Jaipur in Rajasthan and Bhopal in Madhya Pradesh. Futures prospectus. The quality of life in the metropolitan cities of India has deteriorated steadily over several decades with their ill and haphazard extension, unplanned construction. On the contrary, urban areas in the neighborhood of India like Singapore, Hong Kong and Shanghai have recently developed skyscrapers and gleaming shopping malls. India is also glorious ancient past and possess invaluable architectural heritage which can be reshaped, rejuvenated and given the new look befitting for modern metropolises. Now there is an opportunity for Indian metropolises to relieve them of overcrowding and displaced structures. In India, people of all status and of all areas are not equally benefited by spatial opportunities. This is because of the fact that economic opportunities along with the distribution of resources are generally restricted to large cities and towns. Although India is a country of villages, but paradoxically villages have been most neglected as far as facilities concerned. And rural areas are also devoid of opportunities for development. Plans and programs and their implementations are generally oriented towards only a few privileged sectors of communities, and areas which actually are in need for assistance remain neglected. There is a need for amelioration the condition of the downtrodden in backward areas where scheduled tribes and scheduled castes as well as people living in below poverty line form a considerable size of the population of villages and even small towns. These settlements have least accessibility with the areas where opportunities may be available and do not possess linkage either with towns or large villages where the required services may be utilized within their means based on the cost benefit principle. These circumstances draw our attention to rethink about spatial distribution of centers and the nature and degree of amenities and services available there. There is also a need for their realignment and linking them to the areas where need is very important. Growth centers and defined. Within a region or some particular areas on continuum basic such centers are located or aligned which could provide opportunities for development to all sectors of people of these areas associated. These centers are known as centers for development or growth centers. Growth center has its own areas of influence or hinterland. The size of hinterland is based on the degree of specialization within a region which provide essential services and opportunities for growth around their respective areas in a successive manner are growth centers. There is a hierarchy among the settlements in a region for their functional processes, and dependent villages are linked by services villages and service villages are associated with growth centers. They all form a network around the regional nucleus. Each growth center is equipped with its own special infrastructure. This is related to key services institution providing amenities and services like health, education, administration, community life, transport and communication, marketing and other amenities including water and electricity, irrigation, agriculture, implements and seed, manure and labor also becomes part of the resources available at growth centers. Growth center to a sufficient extent provide a bridge between a small village and the large town or even metropolis. Application of the concept of growth centers. An alternative settlement structure can be suggested for the maximum growth of an area by means of realignment of centers of growth in view of the prospective population increase and new opportunities of growth. A case of Czechoslovakia presented by the Heinrich Jankrook reveals that role of growth pole and counter magnet in the alternative settlement structure of the country. In India, 4 principal metropolitan areas had more than 26 million population in 1991 and 20 cities each one have 1.5 million or more population. Such a polarization had been considered uncontrollable by Bharadwaj. He was of its opinion that to recognize some large cities by providing for the overspilling population in satellite and new towns specially constructed for the purpose. This would be beneficial ecologically. Also, small towns in form of growth centers would seize the problem because they might make environment of emerging metropolises worthy of living comfortably under present circumstances of growing metropolises. It is the need of the hour to establish counter magnets against giant urban centers to control them without further delay. Otherwise, their deterioration would make urban life hell in the real sense of the term. One can't direct interfere with the urban growth, but why we can't do is the feed impetus into other parts of the system so as to create counter magnets